Pioneer viewers, we continue to bring you the most striking events unfolding in the shadow of war. The Russia-Ukraine war presents a constantly changing picture, not only with clashes on the front lines, but also with diplomatic pressure, political decisions, and social dynamics. Every day, new developments show once again how complex and deep this war is. In particular, Russia's frequent attempts at compulsory conscription in its war strategy are being closely monitored both internationally and in terms of the balance on the ground. Because these attempts are not just an effort to increase the number of soldiers, they also lead to dramatic events that reveal the human dimension of the war. Today's news brings one of the darkest aspects of this war to the forefront. During a recent operation by Ukrainian National Guard soldiers, a Belarusian citizen forced by the Russian army to sign a contract was captured. This development once again reveals the methods Moscow is resorting to in order to continue the war. Forced conscription attempts are not limited to Russian citizens. Pressure and threats, especially from neighboring countries, show how dire the situation is. The Ukrainian army's interventions in this regard play a significant role in the course of the war because on the battlefield there are not only tanks, missiles or drones, there are also human lives, free will and decisions made under pressure. The outcome achieved by Ukrainian soldiers in this operation is not only a military success, it also stands out as a development that sheds a light on the human dimension of the war. Let's take a look at the developments together. We need your support to produce detailed content about the Russia-Ukraine war. You can provide this by clicking the like button and leaving a comment. Also, don't forget to mention what type of content you would like to see on our channel when commenting. Amidst the chaos and intense fighting on the front lines in eastern Ukraine, a remarkable report came from the Ukrainian National Guard. The Spartan Battalion, one of the National Guard's elite units, forced not only Russian soldiers on the front lines, but also foreign fighters mobilized by Russia. This time, the person that is, they encountered was a Belarusian citizen. Soldiers belonging to the Spartan Battalion captured this Belarusian who had joined the Russian army to fight against Ukraine. The announcement of the incident was made by the Ukrainian National Guard through Telegram. This incident once again revealed how desperately the Kremlin is resorting to different methods to find human resources for the war. The Belarusian citizen's account reveals not only Russia's methods of warfare, but also how much pressure Moscow is under internally. According to Ukrainian fighters, the Belarusian had been living in Russia for years. This individual, who had a criminal record, was under pressure from Russian security authorities. He was given a stark choice: either go to prison or be sent to the front. To avoid losing his freedom, the Belarusian chose the latter and signed a contract with the Russian Ministry of Defense. He was sent to the front lines in Ukraine at the beginning of September. However, the Belarusian's war story lasted only 3 days. Having no previous combat experience, he soon found himself in the middle of a horrific scene. According to his own account, after joining the assault forces sent by Russia, he saw the lifeless bodies of hundreds of Russian soldiers while passing through wooded areas. He saw with his own eyes how bloody and hopeless this war, which he had just joined, was. These scenes not only shocked him, but also served as a deterrent. He eventually gave up resistance at the front and voluntarily surrendered to the Ukrainian National Guard. During his initial interrogation, the Belarusian man who was captured stated that he was ready to defect to Ukraine. However, he also expressed concerns about the safety of his family in Belarus. For this reason, he did not want his face to be shown to the public. This request reminded us once again that the war is not only being fought on the front lines, it also exerts tremendous pressure on families, loved ones, and civilian life. This development points to several important facts. First, is Russia's human resources crisis. Having suffered heavy losses in the war that has been going on for nearly 4 years, Moscow is now forced to send not only its own citizens, but also prisoners and foreigners to the front lines. The Wagner mercenary group's previous practice of gathering prisoners and sending them to the front lines was widely reported in the world press. Now it appears that the Russian army is continuing to use the same method directly. The second important point is Belarus's role in this war. Although not officially participating in the war, Belarus is one of Russia's most important allies. President Alexander Lukashenko has provided Moscow with logistical and political support since the beginning of the war. Belarusian territory has been used as a springboard for Russia's attacks on Ukraine. However, this incident reveals that Belarusian citizens have also been drawn into the war. Although this situation appears to contradict the official stance of the Minsk government, it can actually be seen as a result of the Kremlin's pressure on Belarus. For Ukraine, this prisoner is not just a soldier. He is also an important propaganda opportunity because the foreigners forcibly sent to the front lines by Russia show the Kremlin's helplessness and that the war is becoming increasingly hopeless. Ukrainian media frequently highlights such stories and prefers to emphasize Russia's weaknesses. The Belarusian prisoners' decision to surrender also reveals the morale situation at the front. Many soldiers sent to the front by Russia prefer to surrender or desert when confronted with reality rather than fight. This situation further deepens the Russian army's disciplinary problems. Ukrainian officials say they are determined to ensure the safety of the captured Belarusian and subject him to a fair process. The National Guard statement emphasized that prisoners will be treated in accordance with international law. This is also interpreted as a message from Ukraine to the West. The Kyiv administration wants to show that, unlike Russia's ruthless methods, it does not compromise on law and humanitarian values. On the other hand, the Belarusian situation could also have serious consequences for the Minsk administration. The Belarusian people have long believed that their country lives in Russia's shadow. If such news remains in the spotlight, sentiments against the government are likely to grow within Belarusian society because no one wants to accept that their own citizens are being sent to fight in another country's war. Ultimately, the Spartan Brigade's operation is not limited to the capture of a small prisoner on the front lines. It is also a symbolic development that reflects the bigger picture of the war. This incident once again exposed Russia's growing desperation, its pressure on Belarus, and the low morale of soldiers on the front lines. Similar reports in the coming period will shape the course of the war not only militarily, but also politically and diplomatically. All eyes are now on the details provided in the Belarusian prison's statements. Though these interrogations through these interrogations, that is, it may become clearer what methods Russia uses to gather people, which units it directs them to, and what kind of command system it has established. For Ukraine, this is not just a prisoner, but also a valuable source of information about the workings of Russia's war machine. What do you think? Could other foreign soldiers surrender after this incident? Share your thoughts in the comments. We read and value your opinion.